Coach, you leave West Virginia after 1 year going to the NCAA tournament. What was the draw to come to Minnesota and the Big Ten?
Well, I've grown up in Big Ten country. Grew up in the state of Wisconsin, went to school in Michigan, coached in Michigan as well as Wisconsin. And so very familiar with the Big Ten area, recruited this region throughout my probably entire coaching career, and our families here. I think that was really a big draw for me personally, for our families. Our families are close enough that they can come see us, and that really means a great deal to us, especially as we don't get younger. That's been pointed out a few times today. So.
You mentioned this is a homecoming for you. Tell us about your origins with basketball growing up on a farm in Wisconsin.
Well, I started playing basketball probably in my somewhere between second, third, fourth, fifth grade, but that was before now kids go on travel teams and do that. That was just at our elementary school and playing pickup. And actually the farmers used to get up early and we'd go play at this little tiny gym before probably about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning before we get up and do the rest of the work for the day. So my experience with basketball started just by playing with the people in our area and learning to really love it.
What is the style of play you want to bring to Minnesota? You have a fresh slate here, some great pieces, but also a lot of experience under your belt. What should people expect to see from Minnesota right out of the gate?
Well, I think the two words that we would try to use to describe our team to the best of our ability and where we want to get to is versatility. It's really fun for players to play and be able to impact the game in a lot of different ways. And so versatility on both ends of the court, and then toughness. Everybody wants to play fast, and we want to play fast. But in order to play fast, you have to be good defensively. You have to get stopped so that it's a lot harder to play fast in an open court if you are taking the ball out of bounds. So we want to be really solid defensively. And in order to do that, we want to make sure that we are a tough team. So there's that toughness part of it, the versatility piece that goes with it. And then it becomes a lot of fun, and then as time goes on, our players can kind of dictate how we change the movement within our offense as time goes on.
You built South Dakota into a mid-major power, had a WNBA draft pick. You go to the NCAA tournament with a Power 5 program. How do you measure success in year one and taking that first step but making sure it's a solid one?
Well, for us, it's a matter of learning to compete for long stretches. And if you come and watch us practice right now, you'll see us that we have stretches where we can do things at a very high level. We understand and we're starting to figure some things out. But then the very next stretch, maybe we can't replicate that well enough. And it doesn't mean just scoring, but are we involved in the process enough that we're finding ways to compete and impact the game at a high level. The next part for us is learning how to make adjustments on the fly, because in the game of basketball, we get timeouts. This actually happened in practice. We had a young lady come out, and their group was on for 3 reps, and she came and asked me a question. I'm like, you can't ask right now because you've got to go finish the 3rd rep. When you finish the 3rd rep, it's like it's timeout. Now you can come ask that question. And so the next part for us, after we learn how to really compete and be resilient, is how can we make adjustments on the fly? Because in the game of basketball, there are stoppages of play, but now hopefully you're in a packed environment at home and on the road all the time. And so it's hard for players to hear all the things that are being said. And so they're going to have to be the ones that make adjustments in the game. And I think over the course of time, the group of young ladies that we have, the crew is really highly intelligent when it comes to basketball. We're going to be able to do that.
Are there specific players who are maybe that voice to communicate exactly what you're talking about, because you're still building those relationships?
Right. Well, what's funny now is that we do have some young ladies who I think are going to be great voices for us. Mara Braun is someone who can do that. I think Maggie Sinano is someone who has that ability, but a very different position. Amaya Battle is going to learn to be that player for us. She's learning how to do that. Nia is actually figuring out how to do that for us right now because she's got this voice that carries and this infectious enthusiasm to her. Sophie Hart, who is a post player, who is learning also how to do that. And so now it's a matter of, can we all get on the same page? Do we agree about what's happening and how we need to make changes? And so if we stop and say, okay, this team has just scored on us twice in a row, what caused that? And so maybe it's, okay, we gave up a 3, but what caused that to happen? Well, it was our ball screen coverage or whatever it was at that point in time. So we've got to go back to identifying what we have to fix first so that we can get to the next part of the result.
All those players you mentioned, and we'll add in Mallory in there too, Twin Cities natives. They
Right.
committed as a group, saying they wanted to elevate this program to show that Minnesota recruits should stay home, that this is the place to be. What is your connection like with that group, knowing their dedication to being a Gopher?
Well, I think it's impressive. And they are such a strong-knit group. You know, their unity is incredible. And I think what's really fun to see is how when we had a group of little girls and some boys who came to it's called the Little Gophers Clinic, and we have over 200 kids in this group right now, and they're going to be able to come to games and be on the floor during certain games. And what's neat is when they get in the building, they want to get their autograph with Mallory, from Mallory Hire immediately, or from Marbraun or Maya Battle or Nia, or whoever it is, right? But there's a connection because they know them, they've been watching them, not just as a Gopher, but throughout high school. And so that's been really fun to see how connected our young ladies are to the community already.
You know how many people in the community have watched them throughout their entire high school careers and are showing up at the barn as well.
That's exactly right. Our young ladies can't really go anyplace without people knowing who they are, which is really a great thing. And I certainly believe it's what we need to do a good job of is continuing to use that to reach out to people in our community, to come build that connectivity through it within our fan base.
On the men's side, Ben Johnson was a Gopher himself. Have you shared anything together about building these basketball programs with the pride that comes with being at the University of Minnesota?
Well, it's been great. He has such a knowledge base that I don't have, either about the University of Minnesota or about connections and how we go about building it. And so he's been incredible. I've had a chance to watch his practice. I think he does a tremendous job, very detail-oriented in the things that he's doing. I got to watch the defensive portion of practice too, so that was kind of fun for me at the same time. But I think he does just a tremendous job. It's been great to spend time with him, and we're going to continue. We need to continue to build that connection and build that bond.